My name's Leo and I'm a boat builder and a sailor, and I'm on a mission to rebuild and restore this 110-year-old classic sailing yacht, TALLY. This should be an exciting couple of weeks for us because we've got some big things going on. We're going to be casting the very last of the hanging and lodging knees. We're going to be installing the last of the floors into the boats. We've got some grinding to do as well, but hopefully we're going to get to the point where we can start installing the first of the knees into the boat, and we're also going to be preparing for planking by doing some planing of the stock we've got in the yard. First things first though, so let's head down to the foundry and have a look at the very last bit of bronze casting going on. David, how many of these have we got left?
3. We're almost there. We're gonna be done. Can I shovel again? I can't wait to get back to shoveling. It's just so easy. Alright, I'm just gonna begin.
Bro, are you sad that in a couple of days there's not going to be any more shoveling to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like do some landscaping at the shop.
Yeah, sounds good. Onwards!
This is the final lodging to be cast. Kind of bittersweet. Mostly sweet, but a little bittersweet.
Obviously this has been a long process for us. It's been a big learning process. Because of budgetary constraints, we've been doing the majority of the work, and certainly all the packing and stuff, just having Pete help us with the real expertise. But it's been a really, really interesting experience, a really interesting time. We've all learned a lot and we've got some really great products out of it. So I'm really grateful to Pete and Kathy Langley, who own the foundry, for allowing us to do this and be in their personal space and hassle them so much. One day when I have a boatyard workshop somewhere in the world, I'd love to set up a facility for doing castings on some scale, probably smaller than this, but being able to produce some bronze parts in your own workshop would be really amazing. So this is the drag for the very last lodging knee, and we're going to be putting the cope on, packing that up, and then this will be ready to cast. We've got the furnace going to cast the other last pieces, so we're hoping to finish up in a couple of hours and make an early finish of it and head home to the workshop. Maybe surprise the other guys with a bottle of something. So not only is this the last pour that we'll be doing for all the floors and knees, hopefully, it's also the first pour that Daniel is doing, one of Pete's apprentices who's been here for a long time and has now been trained up very well on machining and pouring, but this will be the first actual pour he's done on his own. So a historic moment for us and for Port Townsend Foundry.
I'm a little nervous, but I've done the pour assists for at least 3.5 years, so I'm pretty confident that nothing will go wrong.
You're not gonna mess up my knees.
I won't mess up your knees. I've been here 5.5 years now. Yeah, it's definitely a cool job. I love it here.
Hold it. Thank you.
Didn't go quite as I expected. Not as easy as I thought it would be.
You did very well for your first time.
Those handles could be like 3 feet long. It was just getting it in that sprue hole. It was so hard to gauge my distance.
Yeah. How did that go?
Not too good. I did okay. I kept the pour steady, but just starting off, getting my aim into the sprue just right was a lot trickier than I thought it would be. Feet makes it look very easy. There's a lot more weight you got to put on those handles than one would think. I was close to being lifted off the ground, it felt like.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wouldn't go that far actually, but it was way harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So Daniel and John just poured 2 of the final 3 knees that we're casting here, and this was actually the first time that Daniel had taken charge of a pour, so that's quite exciting. It went pretty well, and we're about to do the 3rd one now. We're just getting it ready, which is going to be the 3rd and the final pour for all the knees and floors in the boat. Alright Daniel, how did that go?
Well, very well. Apparently 2nd time's the charm.
It looks like you didn't even spill a drop there.
Nope, not a one. Yeah, it got a lot easier after the 2nd time I figured out my balance and we're good to go.
First of many pours, I'm sure.
Hopefully, yes. I think I'm trustful now.
I think the proper way to do it is to like cover it in cloth first, so it touches the cork.
Shoot it straight.
No, you wanna pop it so it goes flying. That's the whole point.
Should I do that?
Shake it once.
One shake would be good.
That's it. That's a shake.
That's probably more.
That was one shake. I even asked you, said, well, got up one down.
Demonstrated.
Okay.
Gentle.
Do it.
Wait.
Shoot it in the water.
Here, I've got my cup ready.
Don't do that.
Yeah?
That kayaker.
Oh, see if it.
That was a perfect
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Hey, look, it's over there in the
nice-
water.
that was a
Leo,
nice
look at this.
So we've pretty much finished at the foundry for now, which is a really great milestone. We've done all our casting in this round, and we've just got to fit all the knees, and then we'll be on to planking. So there is a lot of grinding going on still. We're all spending a lot of time grinding, the whole team, but I haven't bothered videoing it too much because you've all seen a lot of grinding and it's pretty boring, let's be honest. So most of the work this week from all of us hasn't been videoed, but there is some pretty interesting stuff coming up too. So I'm going to be preparing the planking stock for planking, which means planing the boards out in the yard. Pete and Clark are going to be fastening the last of the floors into the centerline, and I'm hoping to start fastening the first of the knees into the boat as well. So right now I'm working on figuring out exactly how we're going to fasten the knees into the deck beams and the beam shelf. So I've fabricated this little jig here. It's still a little hot, but this is basically a two-part jig. It's just to make rivet heads on, and it slides together and holds this 1/2-inch copper rod very securely, and then with a little bit of heat it's pretty easy to make a head like this on the end of that rivet. Now what I'm hoping is that by annealing the tip, then we can drive this through the deck beam and the hanging knee or the lodging knee, and then pin over the other end, the annealed end, without a washer but into a countersink on the knee, and that'll make a very strong through fastening, and they will be very visible inside the boat. The deck beams will be visible, and so this will be a nice aesthetic to see these sort of hand hammered rivet heads in the beams and on the knees.
What I'm about to do is drill the first holes in this lodging knee here on the drill press. We're drilling out for the rivets that are going to go through the beam shelf. They're also going to need a countersink to help the rivet heads be pounded from the other side, from the inside of the boat.
So in theory, if I press this down and then turn the key 2 clicks, it'll start. So obviously this is the brick. This is forward and reverse.
And then this is forward and back, and then this is up and down?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then the right is just shifting from side to side. So today we've got a bunch of different stuff going on. We're almost there with the grinding. We've got a bit more to do just to finish off the last of the knees, but today we're getting a few things prepared for the next stage of the project, which is planking, of course. So we're doing some organisation in the yard. We've moved some bits of timber around. Rosie got a crash course in driving the forklift, which she's already done some forklift driving, so it's just getting to know this particular forklift. So we're basically just taking a break from grinding and getting a bunch of different stuff done to help us move forward to the next stages. So the guys have been busy planing, and basically they're just preparing some of our planking stock. So they're taking a small amount of timber off of either side of these boards, and it's partly just to clean it up and partly to bring it down to a uniform thickness. There is still a little variation in the thickness, but that's okay. We're actually going to use that later on when we get into planking, because there's going to be areas where we're going to want to start out with a slightly thicker stock.
I'm measuring out where the holes are going to go in the floor of these floors, and I'll take them inside and punch out the hole in the drill press.
I'm about to drill the last of the holes through the keel for the floors. They've already been drilled out on the drill press, the bronze at least. I put the floors in place, I clamp them where they go, make sure they're not going to move around on me. Use just a regular twist bit first, and I'll switch up to a real long auger bit. This is just long enough to get all the way through. The mast step's real wide up here, about 15 inches, but the keel down there varies between 10 and 12 inches wide. So if you're too far out, your bowl will come out of the side of the keel instead of the bottom, which always looks bad.
So today we are placing the last floor onto the mast step of the boat, which is a pretty monumentous occasion. Pretty excited about it. So I'll mark it out, I'll paint some red lead down, put some felt down, and then drop the floor into place, and then we'll bolt it in, and that'll be that. Yeah, see, look at that.
So Pete and Clark have been working really hard to get the last of the floors installed, and as you can see, they're looking really amazing. They're going to be extremely strong. These are never going to be an issue for any future owners of the boat, and they're not going to cause any rot in the timber around them either. Most of the work in these floors has been in casting them and in shaping them to fit the frames, shaping the inside just to get it fairly smooth. Also takes a bit of time. Once they're at that stage, polishing them up really doesn't take much longer at all, and so we have done that on all of these, which is a little bit excessive, but also some areas of the floors will be visible from inside the boat. The sole boards, which you stand on, are below the level of some of these floors, and so you'll see the frames coming up through the sole boards, and you'll see some parts of some of the floors. So they will be a nice feature, and they're going to be like this forever. So it took a little bit longer, but I think it was worth it. And I can't wait to take out this temporary staging when we get to that point and get a really nice shot of all these floors in the boat. And by then we'll probably have all the knees in as well, and it should look really special. Just double checking these holes before we drill the last one. We're doing 4 fastenings through each arm, and through the deck beam we're going to drill all 4 now, but through the beam shelf we're just drilling 2 of them now, because the other 2 are also going to go through the frames, and we're not going to put those in until the planks are on, so we can make sure that they're positioned right.
Oh, okay.
So now that I've got this lodging knee into position, it's up against the beam shelf and the beam, and it's a nice tight fit. The holes have been pre-drilled and countersunk, so I'm now ready to drill the holes all the way through the timbers and then drive the rivets in and peen them over, and this will be the first lodging knee fastened into the boat. Now we decided not to bed these down with anything because, well, they didn't do that originally, but also there's really not any benefit of doing that here, because if water was to get in, fresh water, through the deck and find itself getting trapped behind one of these knees, it's almost better really to have no bedding so that water can actually flow out down through the bottom instead of being trapped in there by some bedding. So riveting this lodging knee is going pretty well, but it's a little bit challenging for a couple of reasons. One is that there's very limited space between these 2 deck beams, so hammering these rivets in the first place is quite difficult. The other thing is that the clamp I made to hold these heads in while the other end is peened over keeps slipping off, so we've been trying to find other ways to hold those rivets in. So I finally managed to get this first lodging knee fastened into place, and these are going to be very obvious and prominent in the interior of the boat. You should be able to see all of these. We'll talk more about rivets next episode because we hope to be putting a lot more of these into the boat. But for now, that's all we've got time for. So thanks a lot for watching, and a massive, massive thank you to everyone who's donated or otherwise supported the TALLY project. It does make a huge difference, and it means that we're able to take the time to make and edit these videos. So I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Cheers.